test your code. You can verify that your code is going to work properly when it's implemented in your grand scheme, in your bigger sort of project that you have going on. So you have to figure out and be kind of clever sometimes in figuring out a way to test it. So in this case, what I have is I've set up just sort of this little wall of floating blocks here, and I want to make it so that when I run my mod on this block, then my mod is going to move this block and the 9 blocks to the right of it down a particular distance of my choice. So let's try it out. So I have my mod, and that's not right. So let's, something weird is happening here. Oops. Okay, I just ran it with a parameter of 2. There we go. Weird. Okay, that's kind of cool. It actually worked on this too. It actually moved the error down. Um, anyhow, so I ran it here with a parameter of 2. Let's make sure that that ended up working out properly. Interesting. So it actually turned this wool into a regular kind of wool. So it looks like with the way that we've coded the API here, we may need to do some adjustments in adding like the support for colored wool, because it looks like once we ran it through our ringer, then the wool just turned into regular white wool. Except for this gray one. That is so peculiar. Interesting. So, but it looks like it worked correctly. So we ran it on this block, and let's count them. So we ran it twice, so it should move it down 1, 2. That worked properly. Now let's count the blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Cool. So that worked properly. Let's try it on this one, and let's try a distance of 3. So 1, 2, 3. Cool. Worked properly. Let's try it again on the same row. Let's try 3 again. So it was here. 1, 2, and then 3. Now there's the row. 1, 2, and the 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Cool. Looks like it worked properly, and it buried that length that I tested it on. Pretty cool, right? So that function is going to be really helpful in our larger scheme of things, our larger algorithm. And it looks like it's working just dandily. All right, so let's switch over to the code, take a look at it. So here's the little main function that I created with that parameter of distance. And it's just passing in to the move row down function, which is what I called it, a scan drone, which is spawned at the block that I'm pointing at initially, if I am pointing at one, and then passes in the distance. So let's take a look at the move row down function. Move blocks down, that's what is going to actually employ the smaller function, move row down. Here it is. Here we go. So we have our move row down with scan drone and distance. Looks like we're repeating something 10 times. What are we repeating? We're setting a variable to the material at the scan drone's location. And then if the item, or if that material is air, then we're just going to skip this block. We're going to move that scan drone to the right one. We don't need to move air down or worry about that. Otherwise, we're going to take that scan drone, and we're going to place a block of type air, and then we're going to move down whatever distance we wanted, and then we're going to have that scan drone place a block of the type. So remember, item is actually the material at that scan drone's original location. And then we move that scan drone back up to the distance that it needs to be at, and then write a distance of 1. And then once everything is said and done, we need to move that scan drone back to its original position, back left 10 units. All right, so there you have it. That's your move row down function. The next thing that I want you guys to do is to use this function to build a move blocks down. And the move blocks down function, it should use this move row down function. So that the move blocks down should call move row down a number of times, and that number of times is it's a parameter that you should be passing into the move blocks down function that dictates how big the chunk is. So I named this variable, and this will give you a little clue. I named this variable ceiling in the function, but I really should have named it chunk size, because really it represents the like the width of the blocks that you actually want to move down. All right, so code that. We'll come back, we'll test that, and then take a look at that code, and then we'll be well on our way. Thanks, guys.